So, my name is Rachel Quick, and I am from the Pipe University. And today I want to discuss and talk about and ask some questions about this game shop here that you have started and all about it. And I want to know a lot. So, first, I mean, I can see that you are definitely very into board games, and it's a big part of your life. So, how did you get started with that? What was the initial attraction to it?
Well, for me, like board games go back a long way. I started probably when I was 10 years old, so that's about 30 years ago. Just playing like the typical board game that all the children have been playing, like Monopoly and chess, and then just slowly evolve into like more interesting board games, more underground, and uh, then I kind of took a break from board games for quite a few years when I was working really hard, and then just went back like to this old passion of mine.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So what brought you to Thailand then?
Thailand. When I was around 30, I started like I wanted to live somewhere else than where I'm from. So I'm from Canada, and I was like traveling, and then I went to travel a lot in Southeast Asia. So did a few countries, India, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, and I quite had a good feeling about Thailand. Like nice weather, nice people, and just decided I would give it a try and move here.
Right. So then what made you decide to start a board game shop here then?
So I worked for about 8 years in Bangkok in a really big company, corporate lifestyle, a lot of stress. So at some point I decided I had enough of Bangkok and enough corporate lifestyle. So I moved to Chiang Mai, and I was thinking, well, I need to start a business. I don't feel like having a boss anymore. And I was like, what kind of company can I like create, or what can I do? And then I had all this knowledge about board game, and it's my passion, and I really wanted to do something I like, and I just say, well, let's just give it a try and see if it works, and
Wow,
that's how it started.
amazing. So how long have you had it then?
We created the company about 1 year ago. First started as a website, online website. We just had like very few games, and then we were like really looking for a place to rent, find a shop. We were looking into like in the city center, but like rent was quite expensive. So we thought like, okay, like let's just start it inside a house, in a village. If it's not like a traditional shop, but I think Chiang Mai is like this. It's a bit more like indie style.
Yeah, laid back.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
laid
really
back.
nice. It
Yeah.
has a good atmosphere.
No,
It's home.
thanks.
So, um, I know a lot of people they work together with other groups and clubs. Are there any other type clubs that you kind of associate with for your games?
Another thing that I did when I moved to Chiang Mai is I had my games with me, and it's like, okay, I left most of my friends in Bangkok. It's like I'm gonna just create like a board game group, a meetup group. So that's the first thing I did when I arrived in Chiang Mai. We started like meeting once per week. It was like maybe four people, and now we're meeting like every week, and there's about say about 15 people that come regularly, like more than that. So that's, and also working closely with the other board game shops in Thailand, in Chiang Mai.
So you still do that now? You still,
Yeah, I still do that
yeah.
now.
Do you ever have any kind of events or anything like bigger scale events?
Not right now. Planning to do some bigger event with time capsule and open box at Maya actually next month. So try to do a bit of PR and have try to bring new people into board games.
Right.
So that's a bigger event. Sometime we organize some tournaments for some specific card games with a few prizes,
Okay.
but it's still like limited participants right now.
Where do you normally do the tournaments at?
Sometime we will do like we can do it at Mercato, which is a board game cafe in Sansai, close to Sansai area. And then sometime at working space, like Addicted to Work. Try to find places that are convenient.
So, I know it's like there's difficulty starting businesses, and especially for a foreigner in another country. How has that been? What are the difficulties you found starting this?
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, like one thing we wanted to do, because I'm in this project in this business with my girlfriend, so and she's Thai, obviously. It helps a lot. So we wanted to create a company because if you want to import games into Thailand, American companies, for example, will not deal with an individual like, hey, I'm Jean-Sébastien, I want to like import some games. Like it's like, are you a company? So the first step we did was to really like work with the DBD, like the Department of Business Development, to create an official type private limited company. So we had to go to all the paperwork, and it was a lot of fun. But it's worth it. Like we did it, and it's all by the book. Yeah.
So do you think there'll be much troubles going forward, or it's pretty stable now?
It's pretty stable. Like no problems so far. So just fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And hope everything keeps working well.
So what would you say the demand is like for board games here in Chiang Mai? Is it more foreigners or Thai people, or how would you say?
I would say it's probably 50-50. So there's a lot of expats that are living in Chiang Mai that have played board games before when they were back in Europe or America, and they're like, oh wow, there's board games here in Chiang Mai. They like go back in love with their old passion. And there's a lot of Thai people also that are just, maybe they've been raised playing video games, and it's the first time it's like, wow, I can have fun like being offline and actually like talking with my friends around the table. And these are like, what's the new generation.
So what do you think your future goals are for the game shop, and especially the game community here in Chiang Mai? What do you have plans for?
I mean, the plan is just to keep introducing board games to more and more people. Probably try to, I know there's a few people that are thinking about opening more board game cafes in Chiang Mai, so if these guys are opening like board game cafes, obviously I will help them. So the shop is really like a retail shop, so people come and play games once in a while, but we want the board game cafes to be the ones where people play. People come here, they buy some games, they try some games, but
so mostly you just sell the games and then
correct,
to those shops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to look at what people like. There's new releases coming. Try to have them in store when people come, and
so in your opinion, how do you feel the video game industry has affected board games?
You see some things in board games that you wouldn't see before. So now there's like board games that are like real-time board games that you will play with like either like a MP3 or CD, and then you have to finish the mission within, let's say, 60 minutes. And there's like somebody that will dictate on the recording, like you need to do this now or otherwise it's going to be too late. So you would never see this before. There's a few board games also that you need to play alongside like an iPad that will add more complexity to the game.
Do you think that later on video games will become more popular, or you think that board games will always be the same, like popular?
I think it's about the same. Like, I mean, I think people are gamers or they're not gamers, and most gamers will like normally both video games and board games. It's just maybe they haven't discovered yet that they like board games.
Oh, right.
And there's quite a few video games that also have their equivalent in board games. So I don't know, like a game like BioShock, which was a PlayStation game, made it into a board game, or XCOM made it into a board game. So these are games that might help people transition from online to offline.
Okay. So do you think like the atmosphere is different when you play board games versus video games? Like how different that is?
Yeah, it's very different. I think people are out talking to each other. They're interacting. You can take a break anytime. If you can play like video games, like let's say like couch co-op, but it's not the same thing.
So you think that the having board game community is, how do you feel that reaches out to the community, and like how do you feel that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I see there's a lot of different customers. We were talking before about like, okay, there's foreigners and there's Thais, but there's also different age group. And we're seeing more and more like parents buying board games, and they're like, wow, finally I can play games with my kids. Like my kid is not playing whatever with his iPad alone, like in his head. And I'm bringing a board game to the table, and I teach my kid, and I teach them about like sorting the board game correctly on the table and putting it back in order. and some parents are like now using board game as a way to have some quality time with their kids.
So you would say that board games kind of just pull families together then?
Yes, yes, really.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
It's nice. I sometimes get like customer coming with their kids and they're looking at all the games. Oh, what should we buy? You have to do like your homework, huh? Before playing this game. Oh yeah, sure, no problem, Dad. And
so when you see that makes you feel really good, yeah?
It makes me feel good. Yeah,
Wow.
see that.
Well, this is so interesting. I've really enjoyed like knowing more about this board game and stuff. I haven't really played, but this has been really interesting. And thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.